What's good, y'all? Elite Live Streams. We back with another one. How you guys doing out there? Happy Monday. Hope your week's going well. We getting started off right. We've been doing this thing for the last couple of days, so salute to everybody out there. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and keep tuning in, man. We're trying to grow the channel. Y'all know what it is. We're trying to reach that 1,000 subs, so make sure you guys stay locked in. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you guys are showing love to the channel, man. We've been making some great strides here, and we want to keep that going. So thank you all so much who have come this far, and we're going to keep going, y'all. But what are we talking about today, right? What are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about an interview that Tucker Carlson just did on the podcast, and he was talking about Blackamericans. And I keep telling everybody that the fact that everybody already knows what's going on, but everybody tries to act like they don't, is all a part of a game. And it's been something that I have been, peeping from the outset. There's a lot of different people who try to discredit and try to make it seem like Foundational Black Americans is some cult, or that we are some group that are, out here causing chaos, that we're trying to be hateful towards people, that we're xenophobic, all these other things. But in reality, like a lot of us have already said, delineation is about protection of our lineage and protection and access to our culture. Okay, a lot of stuff has been going on for a very long time that a lot of Black Americans have set back and allowed to go on. And now we have finally pulled the rug. We said no more. We're gatekeeping. We are not allowing people to come into our culture. We are not allowing people to use us for their narratives. Okay, a lot of things have been happening clearly since Donald Trump got elected, and the majority of Black Americans voted for Kamala Harris. There was already a big divide there, but there was as well a big divide when it came to the interrelations that a lot of people are having every single day with those people who are not Black American, right? So a lot of people have sat back and kind of tried to figure out, what's going on with us, why we're doing this, why we're doing that. But it's quite clear that these people understand exactly why we're doing it, right? And it's very funny because I've seen, over time, of course, that, the conversation is always being shifted, right? It always goes a little bit further from what is actually what the real root of why we are upset and why we have delineated and chose to go in our own ways, right? It's very funny that, every single time the goalpost continues to get moved, right? But as Black Americans, we found our way, right? We've always kept it on code, and we always bring the conversation right back to what needs to be talked about, right? And so I wanted to talk about this because I felt like it was a very interesting perspective. And of course, it shows, right? It shows that Black Americans have reached a certain level of mainstream recognition that a lot of people try to suppress, right? They think it's just on the internet. They think it's just us, coming out here doing whatever on the internet, but it's actually happening in real life. And as you guys know, on this channel, I've brought up numerous stories, bills, and other things that are happening right now in the name of Black Americans, just so that we can go ahead and let you guys know that we for real about what's going on out here. And so it was very important for me to bring these type of stories and to continue to build my platform behind the truth and the actual factuals, right? So let's bring up the story, right? Let's bring up the podcast here so we can get
a Foundational Black American Society here in Florida who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican, he is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting, in their words, that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years, and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years.
This is facts. This is all we've been saying, guys. There's no hateful rhetoric. This is just what it is about. It is about the protection of our lineage and the protection of our ancestors, right? Recognizing and acknowledging the fact that we are foundational to this country, that we were here in the beginning, and that our blood, sweat, and tears are a part of the actual fabric of this country. That's what we all been saying since day one. And a lot of people try to, downplay it and make it seem like it's something that it's not. But we already know what it is, right? Because clearly those people know too, right? Everybody knows. And let's start it over just so you guys can hear again.
Got a call from the Foundational Blackamerican Society here in Florida who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican. He is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting, in their words, that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
And this is something that a lot of people have had problems with. This is why a lot of people speak about making sure that reparations is going to be classified correctly, because there are a lot of people who are claiming lineage that is not theirs. And that is a big part of why Black Americans wanted to delineate from the diaspora. We are Black Americans. We are foundational to this country. We do not have any connection to Africa. We are here. We were born here. Our families have been here for over 400 years. That gives us a direct line to everything that has happened in this country because we were integral in building it. I don't see how that's so hard for people to understand. It's very, very direct, very easy to understand. And that's why I had to bring this forward, because Tucker Carlson, and trust me, all those white wingers, they know too. They understand as well. When we speak on these type of things, they know that it is actually true. It is only those from those other persuasions, and as well, some of the other melanated people who have a problem with Black Americans delineating. They are the ones who are creating this big ruckus, right? But white Americans completely understand the plight and the history of Black Americans, right? They don't have to act like they don't know, right? Because clearly they do. Listen to this, guys.
Got a call from the Foundational Blackamerican Society here in Florida who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican. He is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting, in their words, that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years, and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years, I don't.
It's facts, guys. We don't come on this internet just talking crazy to y'all. This is all about the protection and the preservation of Black American history. What we have done, what our ancestors have done, and us making sure that it is acknowledged through what? Reparations and an anti-Black hate crime bill. Okay? These are at the top of the list for what Black Americans need to make sure are at the forefront. And that part definitely plays into the fact that white Americans understand and they know this. And that's why I keep saying the fact of the matter is people who have a problem with Black delineation are those who are of the melanated descent, but are not Black Americans, right? Because like we've said, they've been able to ride underneath the entire diaspora of saying we're all Black. Meanwhile, we've seen numerous times, especially this year and last year, how much fraud, crime, and everything else has been done in the names of Black people, but have not been committed by Black Americans. That's a problem. And mind you, Black Americans are now starting to speak out against that. We are saying that, hey, man, that's a Haitian. Hey, man, that's a Nigerian. Hey, man, that's an Afro-Latino. He is from Dominican Republic. And they always have said that they are from there. What is the problem with us pointing that out and saying, we're Black American, this is what we do, this is who we are. You guys are over there. Isn't that what you guys wanted? Isn't that what we've always heard ever since we were kids and even my ancestors have heard? That's all we're saying. We're not trying to make this super complicated. It's a very direct thing. Black Americans have just said, hey, man, enough. We are going to delineate and separate ourselves so that any confusion when things start to hit the fan will not fall on us. And sure enough, as we're starting to see now, We made the right decision. Okay. Now listen to this, guys. Listen to this.
Got a call from the Foundational Blackamerican Society here in Florida who reminded me that Byron's
make sure you guys subscribe.
mother is Jamaican. He is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting in their words that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but like they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years, and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years, I don't know. I think that gives. I'll listen to you. Like you've
100%.
got, you've got a point of view that is legitimate. I think.
Yeah. And they're unequivocally heritage Americans.
That's for sure.
100%.
They're definitely heritage Americans.
We've told you guys this. We keep telling people this. It is very easy to understand if you are willing to listen, right? That's all this is about. When we tell people, hey, man, listen, we are true Americans. We are the actual natives here. We started in this country. We built this country. We cannot be deported because we are the actual Americans. We are, right? The moment we started saying that, everybody started to have a problem. Everybody started to say, no, this is xenophobic. You guys are calling out people. You guys are doing this. You guys are a hate group. You guys are a cult. When we are literally doing everything they've asked us to. Anytime we say that we are Black or that we're African American, no, you are not African. That's true. Actually, we looked into our family trees and we found out that you were actually right. The genealogy tells us that, hey, we actually are an integral part in the building and the construction of what the United States is today. Our ancestors, made the ultimate sacrifice, both those who came here on boats and both those who were actually here already and taken into captivity through chattel slavery. Okay, so when you have both of those focus groups, they are actually now creating what? A new race, a new lineage. And that lineage has over 500 years, okay, of history, 500 years of history. And they're trying to tell us that we need to be on guard. We need to worry about ICE. We need to be careful because it can happen to us. Listen, y'all. ICE is not going to scare Black Americans because we've already dealt with all types of forms of it, okay? Whether it be iterations like the KKK, the FBI, the CIA, the local police, the state police. We've dealt with every single organization that is here in America. We know these people better than a lot of motherfuckers do. We do as Black Americans. So to try to gaslight us and make it seem like we have to be on guard too is actually ridiculous. And like I said, it's disrespectful to our ancestors who have been here over 400 years. Listen to these guys. Listen.
Perspective. If your family's been here 400 years and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years, I don't know. I think that gives. I'll listen to you. Like you've
100%.
got, you've got a point of view that is legitimate, I think.
Yeah. And they're unequivocally heritage Americans.
That's for sure.
Unequivocally.
They're definitely heritage Americans, if anyone is. And, someone rolls in from Ghana and gets an MSNBC slot and starts speaking on behalf of Black people. It's like, shut up, honey.
Listen, man, this is something that I'm telling you guys. They are intricately studying not only Black American heritage, but also Black American content creators. They're here in our channels. They're in our chats. They're watching everything what we say. They're looking at it and they're backing it up by saying, you know what? Like he said, we may not fully agree with what the foundational Black American community is saying, but they do have a direct line to lineage that has been here for over 400 years. Unequivocally true Americans. That's what they're saying, not us, right? And that's why on elite media always like to bring receipts. That's what they're saying, right? And like I mentioned, they understand why, right? Because he just talked about how there'll be people in the media, right, who are tethers, who have no connection to Black American culture. Their lineage is not directly connected to us, but they are up here speaking on behalf of an entire community that they are not a part of. we've gone over this many a times on my channel, right? How the puppets are being used within our community to what? Infiltrate, create chaos and confusion. I've made many of videos and live streams on these specific topics, right? Making sure that I built it up so that you guys can go back, take a look at the content and say, you know what? This is actually true. And it actually is relevant to the conversation that we're having right now, right? But the goal in that is to make sure that we are holding the line and showing the actual facts about the fact that people have infiltrated our community. And then at the same time, they're going out of their way to sabotage things that are entitled to us. You got people who are tethers going up on and getting these positions in not only, like he said, the media, but politics as well. And they are doing things to slide us and to stop the movement, right? He was just talking about Byron, right? Who was actually held to the line about reparations, and he's going out of his way to say, no, Black Americans do not deserve reparations because I don't deserve reparations. Well, guess what, Byron? You're going to have to not be in that seat, brother, because we are Americans. And if you are going to be as a constituent for Americans, you cannot be there if you are not speaking for Black Americans and our interests. Black Americans have gotten tired of everyone else being able to get a piece of the pie. And we over here hungry, working our butts off every single day, trying to do things the right way, right? Meanwhile, you got people over here scamming billions of dollars in credit card fraud and daycare fraud and all types of benefits for EBT. And they said that that was Black Americans who were doing that, right? They look at us and say, we're the ones who are the EBT queens and kings, right? But in reality, we actually started to find out that it was those people and a few of them people who came from them Somali countries, okay? Then we found that out. Now ICE is going door to door in Minnesota. And guess what? What can Black Americans do? We can't do nothing, y'all. Our hands are tied. We got to get to this content. We got to continue to press the line for what we want to do. Listen to this.
It's legitimate, I think.
Yeah. And they're unequivocally heritage Americans.
That's for sure.
100%.
They're definitely heritage Americans, if anyone is. And, someone rolls in from Ghana and gets an MSNBC slot and starts speaking on behalf of Black people. It's like, shut up, honey. You've got nothing to do with this.
Right.
That's
Literally.
a fair perspective,
right.
I think.
And so it's good to actually see them call them out for that. That's actually cultural appropriation. Appropriating the struggle of slavery.
I totally agree.
And so, as you can see, they're going to have their own jokes, you know what I'm saying? Of course. But at the end of the day, this is true because it is appropriating our struggle as Black Americans when you hop on here and you go out of your way to try to make it seem like our people don't deserve something that our ancestors fought for and died for. That is a problem, and that is appropriating our culture, and that is something that needs to be rectified because we're starting to see it every day, and I got a big problem with that.
If slavery was real, I don't think Republicans ever want to really whitewash that. It's real, right? But for
we're
Byron,
against slavery.
We're against it.
Whether it's in the, West Bank or here or anywhere. Yeah, against it.
And so for Byron's group, his team, to call me and essentially our entire supporting base racists for saying that you're a slave when quite literally you took $45 million. You won't tell us what you agreed to take that money this early in a primary, which is unprecedented. You know this, how unprecedented that kind of money is in an uncontested primary until now.
And what he's talking about is basically the money that Byron was gifted from Israel, right? We already know his connections to Israel and what he's got going on with that. But what he's saying is the fact that people, not only him, but as well, like Ilhan Omar, who have gone in, right, as people who have marketed themselves to Black people and Black Americans, and then on the same token, being over here to line their pockets, get rich while in office, as well as not doing anything for the community, right? And so that's what he means by a slave, because when you actually take that money, you are a slave to whoever gave you that money. right? And so that's why a lot of people had a lot of questions about Ilhan Omar and how much money she's worth now, when in reality she started out and she didn't have, you know, a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of, right? So when we're looking at that type of stuff, we're trying to figure out, like, how are you guys getting money? How are you guys being able to come into office, get rich, and then at the same time you marketed yourself as a Black American, or that you were going to help Black people, but then in reality you never did anything for those people? That's a problem, and you're a puppet and also a slave.
But secondarily, to actually go out and try to gaslight us and think that you're just one of those guys that has been here, you know, since the early 1800s and your family was in the struggle too, you're not. And that's a very interesting term that the foundational Black Americans use. It's called tether. They're tethering these tethers like Byron Donalds. They come here literally one generation in, and they try to just sit around and act so folksy that we're all.
Listen, man, that's what we do. Like, and I'm really starting to see, like, where there's a big disconnect, right? People are starting to get very, very upset, right, with what's going on and how people have been, you know, acting, and, like, you know, why people like Byron Donalds are going out of their way to disrespect foundational Black Americans, right? And why we are going out of our way to make sure that we hold him accountable and get him up out of there if he on that BS. That's exactly what needs to happen, right? And I've made it pretty clear that, you know, there's a lot of people who have a problem, right, with what's going on and how he's been going about these things. And so from my perspective, I love the fact that we've been holding him accountable, and that people who are a part of his community are going out of their way to say, hey, man, what do you got going on right here with Israel? What do you got going on right here with, you know what I'm saying, this money? What is going on you downplaying and not allowing people to have reparations, right? Because we already know what that means, right? We already know how these people act, and we already know that money is influx into the political sphere so that they can control and be able to do things that are not going to benefit Black Americans. And we see that all the time, right? And now I wanted to make sure that we brought this up because, like I said, there is a huge understanding, right? These guys are having think tanks about Black Americans. These guys are doing the research on us. They're figuring out what we're talking about and why we aren't a part of what's going on right now, why we aren't out there protesting with everybody else. Everybody is curious about this, right? And so now that's why there have been so many people going out of their way to hold these people accountable, and as they should, man, because there's been so many times where there's, you know, a huge, overwhelming support, right? Like, how did you guys get all this support? Like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, right, you see that these people have millions of dollars in their pocket and they're doing this and that right behind the scenes, and that's because they're used by what? The establishment, the political establishment, to be able to undermine Black Americans. That's what's happening.
Part of the same struggle, and we're all down on and we need to fight against. No, you just got here, dude. Like the Haitians, like the guys from Ghana who just got here, you don't get to just be a part of our system and then lecture us about.
Right. You don't. Let's start this over so you guys can really hear it again.
Got a call from the Foundational Blackamerican Society here in Florida, who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican, he is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting, in their words, that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but like they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years, and the descendants of a lot of American slaves, or families have been here 400 years, I don't know. I think that gives. I'll listen to you. Like you've 100%. Got, you know, you've got a point of view that is legitimate, I think.
Yeah.
We know what's going on. We've been here. Our families have been here for generations. We understand how this system works. We are integral in the movements and the growth of this economy. We were the ones who actually made this country into a superpower. Black Americans were the ones who pushed the Industrial Revolution forward right here in America. We were the ones who helped with manufacturing and also infrastructure right here in America. We were the ones who helped as well with learning and growing the actual literacy of this country. We were the trendsetters of this country, the entertainment giants of this country. I can keep going, but you guys understand what I'm saying here. 400 years is enough of a foundation for us to not have to say nothing about what we did. Our ancestors did all the talking, right? Listen to this.
Society here in Florida who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican, he is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting in their words that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but like they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years, I don't know. I think that gives, I'll listen to you. Like you've
100%.
you've got a point of view that is legitimate, I think.
Hey, salute, Dan. Thank you for coming through, bro. Dan Digital, salute, brother. Make sure you subscribe, family. We gonna cook on it. But as you guys see, like I said, these people are having think tanks on us. They know what Black Americans are talking about. They're studying our content that we're making. They're in our chats, okay? They know what we represent and who we are. The fact that we have to continuously have these arguments and conversations with people who are melanated and they're acting like they don't know what foundational Black Americans are and what we are, that's on them. I'm done having these back and forths with people who just are choosing not to understand. Because guess what? White Americans know what's up. They're not stupid, okay? Y'all got to stop playing like these people don't know what's going on. They do, all right? They know about Tariq. They know what he's got going on because they're in his chats as well. They're watching his videos, man. We're not the only ones who are speaking about this. And so when I see people trying to downplay and they're trying to gaslight Black Americans and making it seem like what delineation is going on is a bad thing and all this other stuff, that we're xenophobic and everything else, brother, that conversation is dead because it's already about what we trying to do. We focused on us and we're trying to grow what we got going on. It don't matter and I don't care about what y'all have to say when the facts will always speak for themselves. 400 years, 400 plus years, we have been here. Y'all can't deny that. That is history that you cannot deny.
Guys,
they're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but like they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years, I don't know. I think that gives, I'll listen to you. Like you've
100%.
got, you've got a point of view that is legitimate, I think.
Yeah. And they're unequivally heritage Americans.
That's for sure.
100%.
I mean, they're definitely heritage Americans, if anyone is. And,
they already know, bruh. We are the true Americans. Black Americans are the true Americans, okay? They know and we know. And I love the fact that now so many of us are reaching that level of knowledge of self, man. It's been something that I've been trying to do for a long time, man. Since probably 2004, I've been trying to get people on this wave. Just behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? Doing my own thing, right? But now that people have finally reached this level of consciousness to understand who they are, what we are, and what we represent, who our ancestors are, paying respect to that, and as well, not allowing people to disrespect our ancestors and our lineage. Those days are over, y'all. We have now turned a new leaf as Black Americans. We have now reached the level where, like I said, the mainstream is starting to understand why Black Americans are delineating, right? Because there are so many people, like he mentions in this video coming up, cosplaying, right? Listen to this.
Someone rolls in from Ghana and gets an MSNBC slot and starts speaking on behalf of Black people. It's like, shut up, honey. You've got nothing to do with this.
Right.
That's
Literally.
a fair perspective,
right.
I think.
And so it's good to actually see them call them out for that.
That's what we are always talking about, guys. We're talking about people who are hijacking the movement, people who are coming and putting on a costume to make themselves look like they're Black Americans, and then going out of their way to dismantle, cause confusion and chaos to what we're actually trying to get done, right? When people were out there protesting, right, when they're blaming Black Americans for all the riots and stuff, right? What would you see? They send some person who is a melanated person to go out there and chastise Black Americans about peacefully protesting. All right. They will go out of their way to chastise Black Americans about y'all messing up y'all communities. Right. They will go out of their way to chastise Black Americans about picking up yourself by your bootstraps. Y'all all on food stamps. Oh, y'all need to get it together. Just for now, for us to find out, right, that all those melanated people who are actually talking down on us, they were the ones running fraud. They were the ones on EPT. They were the ones running unemployment schemes. They were the ones running credit card schemes. It wasn't Black Americans. We're the ones out here busting our butts, working 2 and 3 jobs at a time, trying to get by, trying to make sure that we prove ourselves, that we actually upstanding citizens. Meanwhile, everybody else out here getting a piece of the pie illegally. And we supposed to sit back here and just accept this. We supposed to just sit back as Black Americans and allow our name to get ran through the mud. And that's why I love the fact that they acknowledge the fact that Black Americans ain't doing that no more. We calling it out straight up. Ain't no more, y'all can just do whatever you want, and then Black Americans gonna have to take the actual negativity from it. No, if you did something and you Haitian, Haitians did that. If you did something you Somalian, Somalians did that. If you did something you Nigerian, Nigerians did that. Ain't got nothing to do with Black Americans, and that's facts.
Definitely heritage Americans, if anyone is. And, you know, someone rolls in from Ghana and, like, you know, gets an MSNBC slot and starts telling, you know, speaking on behalf of Black people. It's like, shut up, honey. You've got nothing to do with this.
Right.
That's
Literally.
a fair perspective,
right.
I think.
And so it's good to actually see them call them out for that. That's actually cultural appropriation. Appropriating the struggle of slavery.
I totally agree.
And the struggle of slavery was real. I don't think Republicans ever want to really whitewash that. It's real, right? But for
we're
Byron,
against slavery.
We're against it.
Whether it's in the, you know, West Bank or here or anywhere.
Or anywhere.
Yeah, against it.
And so for Byron's group, his team, to call me and essentially our entire supporting base racists for saying that you're a slave when quite literally you took $45 million. You won't tell us what you agreed to take that money this.
Listen, this is what we were talking about with Ilhan Omar, right? Everybody was talking about Ilhan Omar and how she started in the campaign in Minnesota where she didn't have no money. Now, all of a sudden, she's worth $30 million. Y'all can't tell me that somebody not getting paid. Y'all can't tell me that something ain't going on. And now the fact that the issue starting to hit the fan over there in Minnesota, now that they starting to do door-to-door ICE raids, y'all can't tell me that it's time. Time's up. Time is up. Enough with that. Enough with the BS going on. People taking a lot of money on behalf of Black American issues and never doing anything for the Black American community. She took that money from her own people, right? The Somali people, put it in her pocket, and now she nowhere to be found. Nobody's seeing her. Nobody's hearing from her, right? We just saw Tim Walz take down his actual campaign for re-election because stuff is hitting the fan over there in Minnesota. It's a lot going on. And we got to sit up here and try to play like this is, you know, it's all good. Like, nah, man, actually, no, you know, Black Americans, you guys are doing too much. You guys are xenophobic. You guys are causing, you know, all this. Man, stop it, bro. Stop it. Because we're not gonna take it no more, guys. You can't gaslight us anymore. It's enough, dude. Hey, salute to Dan. He says the narrative is everything in America. Of course, there's money in swaying influence. Facts, bro. And we sit up here and we've watched, right, so many people take money, and we've watched so many people try to act like, oh, Black Americans are the ones who are up to no good. Black Americans are the ones who are actually doing crime. Black Americans are per capita, right? We done heard all that crap. But now y'all ain't got nothing to say? Listen to Byron now. Listen to Byron and what he had to say about reparations, y'all.
You have a lot of black people in this country who are not descendants of the American slave trade. So I already know off top, there's a lot of black people in America who aren't going to be able to get that kind of benefit or get reparations.
Well, most people who are for reparations, they feel like it should go to what they call foundational Black Americans anyway.
These are the reasons for why I'm no. So so
They
now
do support reparations for what Leonard just deemed as, quote, foundational Black Americans.
no, I don't.
No.
All right, so I want y'all to
Listen, man, it's pretty straightforward. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty straightforward. Like we don't have to go back and forth. We don't have to, keep a whole narrative on this. We already know what he has to say about that. He says that he is no for reparations, right? So like I said, that needs to be put on the forefront. You will not be able to speak on behalf of Black Americans. You will not be able to get these benefits and as well the love that you think you deserve based on what? Based on you
in a
not
primary, which is
being
unprecedented. You
able-
know this, how unprecedented that kind of money is in an uncontested primary until now. But secondarily, to actually go out and try to gaslight us and think that you're just one of those guys that has been here, since the early 1800s and your family was in the struggle too, you're not. And that's a very interesting term that the foundational Black Americans use. It's called tether. They're tethering these tethers like Byron Donalds. They come here literally one generation in, and they try to just sit around and act so folksy that we're all part of the same struggle and we're all down on and we need to fight against. No, you just got here, dude. Like the Haitians, like the guys from Ghana who just got here, you don't get to just be a part of our system and then lecture us.
This is just what it is, man. We tell people all the time as Black Americans, like we see this all the time. People coming over here, these tethers trying to dictate Black American business. And we ain't got time for that because y'all ain't put enough into this. We have already put over 400 years into the soil right here in America. We done fought, our ancestors done fought, and every generation after that, okay? So when I try to hear people try to downplay, try to bait, try to, gaslight Black Americans, nah, man, y'all not finna do that because Black Americans have literally spent every single waking moment to speak out against Black inequalities, right? We've also spoken out against police brutality. We also spoke out against many of issues, right, that affect Black Americans, the things that we've gone through directly, right? Systemic racism, white supremacy, all these things. And yet and still, we still have to explain to y'all why we're delineating and why it's disrespectful for y'all to act like we are all the same and we're not. You guys were the ones who said you were not Black. You're Haitian. You are not Black. You're Dominican. You are not Black. You're Nigerian. You're not Black. You are Somali. We saw these videos and we've had to deal with it for a long time. So we said, I bet y'all don't want to align with us. Asians don't want to align with us. Hispanics don't want to align with us. Latinos don't want to align with us. Cool. We will figure it out on our own and we'll focus on us. I don't see how that's a problem. I don't see how that's hard to understand. And then at the same time, I also don't understand why people are getting so up in arms with the fact that now what comes behind that is us gatekeeping and y'all not able to use us like y'all attack dogs anymore. You can't just use us to run out here and protest for whatever y'all want us to protest for. Y'all can't keep going with that, bro. All right, he says, nah, I disagree. We need unity amongst cultures. All right, Dan, please explain to me what unity and what cultures. Please help me understand, Dan, because let me tell you this. Black Americans have been looking for unity for years and years. 400 years, we have been trying to align ourselves with people. And every single term, y'all have told us that y'all not like us. We are this, y'all are that. So help me understand, please, Dan, who we need to unite with and who has gone out of their way to unite with Black Americans. I'll wait, bro, because I know there's no answer. I know it sounds good. I know it feels good. Like it feels good to say that we all can be united and stuff, but it's just not true, bro. In terms of fighting racism, in terms of speaking up, in terms of protesting, Okay, brother. I will now have to ask you what your lineage is. What are you, bro? Are you white? Are you black? Are you Asian? Are you Hispanic? Because when you say these things, Black Americans have been fighting racism since we got here. Black Americans have been fighting and speaking up since we got here. Black Americans were the ones who were the actual first ones to be out here protesting. So, Dan, I repeat, I would like to know what community that you are a part of, because if you are a part of the Black American community, you would not say something like this, because in terms of fighting racism, in terms of speaking up, and in terms of protesting, Black Americans have done that and some more shit. We have gone out of our way to do this, bro. You're Chinese. All right, salute to the Chinese, bro. But listen, Dan, I'm sorry to break it to you, Dan, but in terms of what Black Americans have done, we've done enough. It's time for y'all now to do y'all part. The Chinese community, y'all need to hit the streets. The Chinese community, y'all need to be fighting racism. The Chinese community, y'all need to speak up, because Black Americans, we have a history of this, all right, that no one can take away from us. Yes, of course, we do need to unite. We would love that, but that's just not the reality, Dan. Reality is Black Americans have no allies, and we have to look out for ourselves, especially in this time where there's so much turmoil in this country. Straight up, bro. I salute to you, Dan, for being honest. Facts, though, it's about action and not just the sentiment. Yes, sir. Y'all need to get out there and handle your business, okay? Because people like me, people like my people who I represent and come from, we are doing the work. We are boots on the ground, and we've been doing it for generations. I always tell y'all here on Elite Media, we're boots on the ground. We're in the streets, okay? My family runs a food bank that gives out to the poor every Saturday right here in Long Beach, California. That's what we do, okay? And we've been doing that for a very long time, over 40 years, okay? Since I was basically born, all right? So for people, sometimes they don't get it, right? When it comes about action, being in your community, being active in your community, right? A lot of people don't come from that. I come from a family of service and law enforcement, military background. So from where I'm at, I don't have any, quarrels about getting out there and getting my hands dirty, because that's where I come from. I come from the mud. So when I get on here and speak on these live streams and on the internet, this is just to be able to back up and be able to generate some attention towards what I'm really doing in real life, right? And so, like you said, the sentiment is action, right? Not just talking about it. And so when I get on here and I bring up these stories about Tucker Carlson acknowledging this, that's what I mean. I'm talking about these people know what's going on. They're in the streets. They understand. They're studying us. So Black Americans, we now continue to do the work that we've been doing, man. Salute to you. Dan says, respect. I got to be out there too. I got to speak to my people and ask for their help to fight alongside you as well. That part, bro. It starts with one. Each one teach one. Each one teach one. We ain't asking for everybody. And I know some people, they want everybody to be a part of something. I'm not one of them people. I know that everybody can't be down. I know that everybody won't be down when the shit hits the fan. I know that there will only be a small few who are willing to fight and actually do what's necessary to get the job done. But in reality, that's all we need. We don't need everybody. We just need a select few who are choosing the truth over the lies. We need a select few who are willing to fight over flight, okay? Because guess what? It was a select few of Black Americans who did everything that was necessary for us to be able to be in the position that we are in today. It was a select few. There was a lot of Black Americans who did not enslave slavery. There was a lot of Black Americans who told Harriet Tubman no. Okay? She notoriously talks about how she could have saved more slaves if they actually wanted to leave. And I understand that part. I understand that a lot of people are not going to be down when this stuff really goes down, y'all. So the goal is to reach that small community of people who are willing to do that, who have the heart and the understanding to be able to fight against this system that is oppressing all of us. And Black Americans have sat and watched, waited, paid attention. And we said, you know what? I think it's time for us to set ourselves apart. I think the fact that we've done so much for everybody else, they've taken advantage of it. They don't appreciate it. So what we got to do now, we got to separate ourselves. Now we got to make sure that we change the narrative. Now we got to make sure that we protect ourselves from what's actually been happening. Now we got to change the narrative. Now we got to say, you know what? Honestly, I think y'all got it. I think it's time for y'all to do something. I think it's time for y'all to get out here in the streets and make a difference like Black Americans have been doing for over 400 years. All right? Been doing it systemically every single time, every generation. Black Americans are innovating. Black Americans are fighting. Black Americans have been doing everything in our power. And we tired, man. We done enough. And mind you, now is the time where Black Americans are building within our own. Now is the time for us to be a self-preservation, a self-reflection, looking at ourselves, looking at our history, trying to understand the things that we went through, looking at our family, putting together our genealogy, trying to keep our families together, right? I got family members reaching out to me. They ready for a family reunion. And so I got to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? I got to get out here and start figuring out a family reunion for my family because everybody's ready for that right now. And that's going to be a lot of planning. It's going to take a lot of energy. But you know what? That's what Black Americans do. And these are the things we got to focus on. We got to start closing the ranks, right? We got to start bringing each other together. We got to start making sure that we are fellowshipping amongst one another, building our nation within a nation like we used to, right? Before the distractions, right? Before the integration, right? Before the brainwashing and gaslighting, right? All that, we got to get back to the basics. And mind you, everything that's been happening lately has pushed us into that. It has pushed us into understanding that we all we got. It has pushed us into understanding who we are and how we are foundational to this country. It's pushed us into something that has had to be happening for a long time. Delineation now, delineation forever. It's over, y'all. We can't go back from here now, right? We're past the point of no return, right? So it's on y'all. It's on everybody else to catch up. Because guess what? Like I said, Tucker Carlson, all these people, they know what's up. They're not acting stupid. They know what's going on. Look, we're going to start the video over just so y'all can hear again.
Got a call from the Foundational Blackamerican Society here in Florida who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican, he is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting in their words that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery, not a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but like they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years, and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years. I don't know.
Enough said, y'all. Right. Salute to Dan. He says, right, we all got to be careful who's really with the cause and who's not. Got to go. But thanks for sharing your perspective. Yeah, man, that's just real, dog. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got time for everybody. We don't got time for people who not really about the movement. We don't got time for people who acting like they don't understand. When I just played for you guys, these are actual people who are at the highest level of white political rhetoric. They're in those conversations. They're billionaires. They got money, all that stuff. If they know who we are and they understand our plight and what we're thinking and how we're moving, there is no excuse for all y'all to act like you don't. All you other groups trying to act like y'all don't know what's going on, you're going to be behind. And I'm telling you right now, you better catch up because you're going to be behind. You're not going to be able to catch up when Black Americans are already ahead. We're already ahead. Let's keep it a buck. All right. We've just been held back based on what? A lot of different things that have been systemically put in front of us. But in reality, y'all know what's up. And now that delineation is happening, and now that delineation has reached the forefront and continues to reach the forefront, because like I'm saying, this will not be the first white political figurehead who will speak on this. This will continue to bubble up, right? Because like you said, they're talking about Byron Daniels, and I'll play for you guys a clip of him talking down on reparations, but they're talking about Byron Daniels because Byron Donalds is one of those people who also understands what foundational Black Americans are doing and what it means, and his objective is to stop that. That's why he's in the position that he's in. That's why he's able to make the money that he makes. That's why they're greasing his pockets, y'all. Don't be fooled by the BS, man. Don't be fooled by these people who are trying to gaslight and not acknowledge what everyone else knows. The elephant in the room is what? The elephant in the room is that Black Americans have been here. We're not going anywhere. And we now getting credit for the things that our ancestors have done. And now we're coming for the check to be able to make sure we back that up. All right, we coming for the check. We coming for them bills, that anti-Black hate crime bill. We coming for that. We need that. We needed that yesterday, okay? Police brutality against Black Americans, we need that. All right? We need all that, y'all. Straight up, man. So salute to everybody who came through, man. This was a great stream, man. You know what I'm saying? I love these streams. I love these Monday streams. Y'all be coming through, popping in, popping out. But make sure you guys subscribe, y'all, because this channel, we're trying to grow it, bro. We can't grow without y'all support. Whether you here or not, whether you support it or not, come through, man. Have some commentary. Talk with your boy. If you got a problem with it, make sure you let me know in the comments. That's the only way I'm going to know. If you guys let me know in the comments, right? So make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you hype the video. I don't know if I'm at that level where you can hype the video, you know what I'm saying? But if you guys continue to subscribe, man, maybe I will be, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we will be able to make some crazy strides and be on these type of levels. But we can't do that without 1, 2, 3, all y'all subscribing. You know what I'm saying? Gotta have that, bro. So make sure you guys continue to tap in with your boy. My name's Brandon B. I'm a part of Elite Media, man, and I'm out. Peace.